Is it about the Spurs having OKC's number? Stephon Castle, mid-range shot there to give San Antonio a 14-point lead late. And San Antonio finishes it off 117-102 over the defending champs. Thunder have lost 5 times this year, 3 in the last 12 days, coming to the San Antonio Spurs, who are showing they are for real in the Western Conference and in the NBA. Victor Wembanyama off the bench again, 19 points, 11 rebounds, and the day led by De'Aaron Fox, 29 points for the San Antonio point guard. Oh, by the way, reigning MVP, SGA, a season low 22 for OKC. All right, let's bring in John Gonzalez here, our NBA analyst. Chris Honorado with you here, John. Okay, what is it about the way San Antonio matches it up with the Thunder?
Yeah, there's a couple things here that stand out to me, Chris. I think positionally, the Spurs have a lot of size, right? You start with Wemby, obviously, he's gigantic, but then Stephon Castle, Harrison Barnes. If they want to go double big and match up with Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren when the OKC goes double big, the Spurs can do that too by deploying Luke Kornet alongside Wemby. And by the way, one of the great nicknames for a duo in the NBA right now, they call them French Vanilla, so love that. But then you've also got Devin Vassell, and then off the bench, Keldon Johnson, Julian Champagnie, and Dylan Harper all have nice size. So that has caused some problems for OKC. And then beyond that, Oklahoma City, what they do better than any other team in the NBA is turn you over. They're number one in creating turnovers, and then they generate points off of that. They're number one in creating offense off of turnovers. Well, over these last couple games, the Spurs have been really good about taking care of the ball. Today they had 13 turnovers leading to 13 points. That's not a disaster against Oklahoma City. Normally, Oklahoma City turns over the opposition way more and generates way more points off of that. So those two things combined, taking care of the ball and then their size, have really led to some serious problems for OKC. Got their first loss at home. They don't lose at home, Chris. They lost at home today. They only lost 8 times at home all of last season. Now all of a sudden they've lost 1 at home, and then on top of that, 3 times to the Spurs in the last under 2 weeks. They got to be wondering what is going on in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's a quick fix here. The Thunder came in allowing only 107 points per game. That was best in the NBA. But in these last 3 games against the Spurs, John, 117, 130, 111. I'm not good enough at math to know this. I had to use the calculator on my phone. That's 119 per game. So a big departure from what OKC has done defensively against the rest of the league here in these 3 losses. Best 30-game start for San Antonio since the 2016-17 season. They went to the Western Conference Finals that year. Are the Spurs for real?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, what? They've won 11 of their last 12. They beat the defending champions 3 times in 12 days. When they beat Oklahoma City in the Cup, they won by 2 points, right, in the Cup semifinals, and everybody went, good for the Spurs. That's a great win. Then all of a sudden, 2 days ago in San Antonio, they beat them by 20. Oklahoma City, Chris, does not get blown out. And you thought, okay, that's a really impressive win, but it was in San Antonio. I'm sure that Oklahoma City will be up for the game on Christmas Day in their building where they have arguably the best home court advantage in all of the NBA. And all of a sudden they win that game, the Spurs do, by 15. Yes, they are absolutely for real. They're only 2.5 games out of first place in the Western Conference. And if somebody had said to you, Chris, that a team in the NBA will have the playoff tiebreaker locked up against the Thunder by Christmas, you would have gotten incredible odds on that. And all of a sudden, we have gone from, I just wrote about this for CBSSports.com, could Oklahoma City Thunder reach the 74 win mark and break Golden State's record? Well, that didn't age very well, because we've gone from that to all of a sudden, are they even going to be the 1 seed in the Western Conference? Because here come the Spurs.
All right, to your credit, this is a team that ran out to a 24-1 start this season. So we were all thinking along the lines you were thinking about here. Second team in the last 3 years to beat OKC 3 straight times. Those are your San Antonio Spurs. I get that he's coming off an injury, and so this is not a full season strategy, but boy, who would have thought Victor Wembanyama could be in the running for 6th man of the year? What a weapon to deploy off the bench, huh?
Yeah, exactly. He's still on a minutes restriction. They're still bringing him off the bench. But yes, what a luxury. Exactly right, because he played 26 minutes tonight and went for a double-double, 19 points, 11 rebounds, and a block. That's the other thing that's super scary here. If you're the rest of the league, and particularly Oklahoma City, where the Spurs have now gotten you 3 times in 12 days, Wemby hasn't even played his top-tier game yet. He hasn't had a full minutes load. The Spurs are doing this with combinations of De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Harrison Barnes bombing away. You're getting some good Luke Cornett minutes. In the last game, the one on Tuesday in San Antonio, Keldon Johnson went off. Imagine what happens when Wemby is fully healthy and grooving offensively, because you know he's always going to play defense. You know he's always going to protect the rim. Now all of a sudden you've got a fully healthy Wemby who's scoring as well. That would keep me up at night if I'm in Oklahoma City.
Spurs have won 9 of the last 10, just 2.5 games behind the Oklahoma City Thunder now in the Western Conference standings after this Christmas Day victory at OKC, which is, John, you pointed out, a place the Thunder do not lose often at all. John Gonzalez breaking it down for us here on CBS Sports HQ. John, thank you. Again, a look here. The Thunder against their opponents this season, 0-3 against the Spurs, scoring only 107 points, given up 119. And then against the rest of the league, what they've done, a big difference. The Spurs have certainly figured something out with the defending champion.
We went to double overtime back in April, and now with the standings feeling so tight, kind of feels like we're getting a little bit of a playoff preview here. Coach, Minnesota's been rolling, but they haven't really beaten many elite teams. Denver has been shaky at home, yet everything runs through the Joker. What are your keys to this game?
Yeah, if I was dissecting this game and getting ready for it, the first thing, if you're Minnesota, people always talk about how do you slow down Jokic defensively. Well, I take the opposite approach. How do I keep him involved when he's on defense? You cannot allow such a great player like Jokic to rest on defense. I don't know if these games are for a guy like Rudy Gobert. I would lean more on Naz Reid to spread the floor to try to put Jokic in the bind when he's on defense. And then when you're trying to slow him down, I think, you get the ball out of his hands. You cannot allow him to score 30 points, have 10, 12 assists and 15 rebounds today. So you got to make him try to make him more one-dimensional and just try to make him lean on assists, get the ball out of his hands as much as you can, force other guys to score. This team offensively could be inconsistent at times, so I would get the ball out of his hands. For the Nuggets, same thing with Anthony Edwards. I'm trapping him. I'm forcing him to become a passer. He could be turnover prone at times. Get the ball out of his hands, make him find guys like Rudy Gobert, defend him around the basket, foul Rudy Gobert, force him to go to the free throw line. So those are some of my keys to this game. But number one key, if I'm Minnesota, I'm forcing Jokic to play defense on every possession. I'm not allowing him to rest.
Coach, you talk about keeping the ball out of Jokic's hands. To me, that sounds almost like trying to capture Rudolph away from Santa as he's flying around. That is not an easy thing to do, but we'll see if the Timberwolves are up for that task. And speaking of, Timmy, the T-Wolves are dogs tonight just by over a basket. Are the Christmas dogs going to be barking, or will Joker steal Christmas?
Yeah, I think the hammer's going to be out here. You said it before, Katie. I know they haven't beaten great opponents, but right now Minnesota's playing their best basketball this season. Give me Minnesota here plus the points, and if you're even riskier, a little sprinkle on the money line. So I just hope that Anthony Edwards wrapped all those presents for all those precious children that he has, because he's got a lot of them out there. We know that, all right? Yeah. So he might have been really busy playing Santa on this day. But as for Denver, they've had some struggles. Last 8 home games, they've only won 3 of them. And yes, Jokic is an amazing talent, and it'd be fun to kind of game plan as an assistant coach next to Avery, or how you're going to stop this guy. We're lucky that we're wearing our red coats and we're not coaching anymore, trying to figure that out, because easier said than done. But I think Minnesota has a legit shot to win this game, and you have to ask yourself, who would you really want in a playoff series? There's Minnesota over the last 12 games. This is an extremely talented squad. Naz Reid's going to have to spread the floor. He's going to have to make threes. They can mix it up defensively on Jokic, different bodies. But Anthony Edwards, what a talent. I don't know if he's mature enough, Katie, to ever win an NBA championship, but he's certainly in the prime of his game on the court. And he can certainly take over any single game. The fact that Minnesota comes into this game flying high on confidence, this is like one of those teams when they're doing really well, look out. When they're not doing so well, you can definitely fade them. But the fact that they're feeling good about themselves, give me Minnesota here plus the points.
All right, you're going to take those points with Minnesota. Big thanks to Tim Doyle and to Avery Johnson for stopping by and spreading some Christmas cheer. We appreciate the two of you. Here's a look at the shortest odds to win the NBA Finals. You got the Thunder at -115, the big favorite there to run it back, followed by the Nuggets. And how about those Knicks? Our Ashley Nicole Moss is probably happy about that one. Rockets and Spurs rounding out those top 5.